Good morning. I'm enjoying the morning before it gets hot today. Probably seen me smoking a lot lately with this little pipe. It's kind of become my favorite little pipe. Got it on my birthday last year at a little pipe shop in Little Rock. It's just a little cheap basket pipe. I don't know what I did. I broke the stem and I put this replacement stem that I tried to fix another pipe with, but it worked good for this one. So it's just a little thing, it's nothing fancy. It just says garden on it. It's just a cheap little pipe, but it's nice and it's light. So it kind of hangs in my mouth real easy. It's nice for a shorter smoke. Sometimes I don't want to sit there for an hour and a half. And sometimes I do. I've got other pipes for that. I'm smoking a vapor blend, which some pipe folks know. Vapor means a Virginia Perique. Yeah, it's called St. James blend. It's from my local shop I like to go to. But today I want to talk about the pipe. Why I smoke a pipe. Sometimes I smoke cigars. There's videos out there of guys talking about pipes versus cigars. I don't think they need to be pitted against each other. It's just preference. But the pipe and cigar world, we're closer to each other than a lot of the other type of smoking there is. Those who smoke tobacco, not other things. Which I do. I have an herbal blend that is not a specific plant, but it's medicinal. It's like literally to get stuff kind of out of the lungs. So when I had COVID, it really seemed to kind of give me some relief, because my lungs and my sinuses and everything was very clogged up. But the pipe. Why the pipe? Why smoking in general? And pipes and cigars, not cigarettes. This is just me, and part of it I want to speak to, and I might get into it some more, is I'm openly a Christian, I'm boldly a Christian, but in the Christian circles, in the denominations and things I grew up in, they were what some people call teetotalers. They were not into smoking or drinking. And that's fine for some people, but there was a real argument, and I know I have family that if they saw me on here smoking a pipe, they would not approve. But I'm kind of not worried about it anymore, because I love my family, I love people, I love my brothers and sisters in the Lord, but I don't live before them. I live before the Lord. And so, and this isn't why everyone who smokes a pipe smokes a pipe, but this is part of the reason that I've taken up the pipe. The first and easy reason is because I enjoy it, right? If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. If it wasn't pleasurable to me, if it didn't taste good, which is the main reason I like it, it tastes good. It does kind of have a calming effect. Those things. But I would do it because I enjoy it. I didn't smoke for a long time because I always thought you inhaled into your lungs. Because all I knew was cigarette smokers. And that just did not sound, it did not sound wise to me. Why would you bring smoke into your lungs? And so I never wanted to. But I don't breathe into my lungs. So once I learned that, and it was actually my bachelor party right before I got married, so I was in my 30s, and I had a cigar for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And I didn't feel like high or anything like that. I didn't even get like it wasn't like a crazy buzz. It just tasted good, and it went well with things. For me, my favorite pairing with a pipe is black coffee. I love the flavor of it. But when I smoke, I tend to think, or I tend to pray, or I'm reading my Bible, or I'm reading something. I want to be thinking. And there's a doctor out there. I think some people have heard of him, Andrew Huberman. He's got a really good video on the effects of tobacco, and he's not a big advocate for smoking, but he's mostly talking about vaping and cigarettes. And there is a clear distinction between cigars and pipes and cigarettes. And so let's talk about that first, kind of the health side of it, because that's usually the main argument you hear is the health side of it. But I've done my research, and the biggest research that was done about smoking was decades ago. The Surgeon General, they did a large study on smoking. And you can find these. I might post some links. And they did their due diligence, and they looked at cigarettes, they looked at cigar smokers and pipe smokers, and then compared them to non-smokers, and looked at all kinds of cancer risk, and the big one was the death rates. And here's the interesting note. For those that pretty much smoke pipes, the life expectancy for men was actually higher for those who smoke pipes, at below 10 bowls a day. And I'm nowhere near 10 bowls a day. I'm not just chain smoking my pipe. And sorry, my phone's buzzing here. I'm not chain smoking my pipe. I'm just smoke. I don't even smoke it every day. But the life expectancy is actually higher for pipe smokers. It basically really means there wasn't a significant difference between non-smokers and someone who casually smokes a pipe. And even the numbers for cigar smokers, it was for those that smoke more than 5 cigars a day, then it made a difference, right? Even for the cancer risks, those things. And so it's really negligible. If you're living a healthy lifestyle, if you're eating good and you're moving and you're doing things, there's actually no net negative for smoking a pipe or a cigar. There is for cigarettes, because they're filled with all kinds of other nasty things. It's like, but even then, with cigarettes, don't be against people who smoke cigarettes if you're drinking Dr. Peppers or even Diet Dr. Peppers, because you're just and you're eating junk food with all these seed oils and things, and you're fat. And most cancer cases are not from smokers. There's way more people that die of cancer and heart disease and all those things that has nothing to do with smoking. So that's the health side of it. What's interesting, so Dr. Andrew Huber, he noted that with nicotine, in small amounts, what nicotine does to the brain is it actually boosts it lowers your hunger. You don't hunger, but it boosts your metabolism. And so it makes the mind be able to focus and move. But it's interesting, it's not an athletic performance enhancer, right? And so it really lends itself scientifically to when you're trying to study or write. So you're trying to focus the mind and calm the body, and it naturally does that. And so when something naturally does something and it's found in nature, I think that's the Lord. I think the Creator made it that way. And even things that are even plants that are considered poisonous in some respects, if you isolate it and use it in certain ways, there's many times it does have a medicinal benefit, right? The leaves of the trees are for healing. Even into eternity, the tree of life, the leaves of the tree of life are for the healing of the nations, it says. So let's get into the biblical side of things. And so the teetotaler argument, that whole thing, the biggest argument I hear is, well, your body's a temple, and so you should take care of it. Well, if there's no real health detriment, instantly that argument means nothing. If you can't prove that smoking actually hurts you, then that doesn't make sense. Now, with that temple argument, though, right? So 1 Corinthians 3 talks about our body as a temple. Now, the context is not whether you're smoking or not. There is no verse on smoking in the Bible. There's no prohibition in the Bible against smoking. There's prohibitions against being drunk, but there's no prohibitions against. And so you could say don't be high, so don't do things that make you high and inhibit your thinking. From what I can tell, nicotine does not inhibit your thinking. Now, smoking cigarettes and getting yourself, using it as an upper to keep going, which is what you do when you're chain smoking and those things. Yeah, I think that can be detrimental. Too much of a good thing, right? But if our body's a temple, and I've mentioned this before, it's a little humid out here. This tobacco doesn't want to keep lit. If our body's a temple, think about it. Look through the scriptures at the verses about the temple. In Revelation, there's the heavenly temple. In Exodus, right, they're setting up the temple. And what is in the midst of the temple? You go in, and there's a lamp, but before you go into the Holy of Holies, when the priest goes in there, what does he have to do? He has to light incense. Light incense. There must be incense between him and God. There's this smoky presence. Isaiah 6 says, there was this, Isaiah was caught up and there's smoke filled the temple. And where there's smoke, there's fire. It's a symbol of God's very presence. It's a symbol of the Holy Spirit. In Revelation, it's a symbol of our prayers. The prayers are like incense before the throne. And so incense has always been a part of any kind of sacredness or holiness, and that's across every culture. Why? It's not like it was in pagan cultures and not in the temple of the Lord. It was in the temple of the Lord. Now, he had a very specific one, right? It was a holy incense that was just for that purpose. And you couldn't burn other incense, and you couldn't burn it for other purposes, those things. And so for me, I try to focus, when I'm smoking my pipe, I'm trying to be focused on the Lord, listening to the Lord in a place of prayer. But throughout the Bible, go into Exodus 30, go throughout Exodus, and then start to look how many times it talks about incense. And it's a pleasing aroma. Sometimes some translations say perfume, right? The word perfume and incense come from the same place. So it's a sweet smelling fragrance. Now, not everybody likes the smell of tobacco, but I do. Like I said, I like the taste of it. Why do I like it? Well, I'm made in the image of God, and I find it pleasing. And then he says that incense is a pleasing aroma. And so it's not just an argument. I'm not just trying to make an argument against those who would say, well, your body's a temple, don't do it. So first, there's no detrimental proof. There's no proof that smoking is detrimental to your body. So if my body's a temple, it's not hurting me. And then I want to be like the temple. What am I feeling? It needs to be filled first with prayer. That's the deepest reality. But smoking to me is like I'm offering a prayer up to the Lord. And that's how smoking originally was thought of. It was about peace and lifting yourself into that transcendent place, because the smoke arises. It literally makes your breath, you can see your breath rising through the smoke. That's a different way of thinking about it, right? And so for me, that's why I have began to truly enjoy smoking when I'm mostly by myself and I'm trying to be in a thoughtful place and be in a higher, mindfulness type place. And so for me, it helps, and it focuses my thoughtfulness and my prayerfulness and meditating upon the things of the Lord. So why wouldn't I do it, right? Why wouldn't I do it? It's not a distraction for me. So if it doesn't distract me from the Lord, but actually it helps me to hold my thoughts better in that place before the Lord, why wouldn't I do it? Right? And then I have a critique the other way. A critique for the teetotalers and the people who think this is sin. First, there's no Bible verse. Now, if that's your personal conviction, don't do it. But Romans 14 says that we each live before our own master. And so my conscience is clear, is yours. Now, if I'm offending someone and I know I'm going to be fellowshipping with them, I don't want to do something. And I don't smoke in church. In my church, we have incense. And I think we should. Because it's a physical reminder that our prayers and our thoughts and our everything should be ascending before God. Now, I grew up in that kind of culture in the South where it was a sin to smoke and drink and those things, and I saw this, but I saw all these people claiming that this was the Christian way. But I saw plenty of people that did not live or act in a Christian way. They acted pharisaical and prideful and self-righteous, or they sinned just the same. It didn't seem to make much of a difference whether they smoke or drank or whatever. And so I saw both, and I saw plenty of people that didn't smoke and drink, and they lived very holy, righteous lives as well, and good for them, but it had nothing to do with whether they were smoking or drinking. That had nothing to do. There was a good video with Dwayne from Drug Creek Wrangler, and he pointed out that it's not what, Christ says it's not what goes into the body or into the mouth that defiles, it's what comes out of the mouth. Because what comes out of the mouth reveals the heart. And so if you're spewing out condemnation and pridefulness and those things, you're in much more grave spiritual danger than whether you smoke or not. That has nothing to do with it. And the temple argument, that to me, that means nothing. Twofold, both spiritually and physically. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Right? I don't get drunk, and I don't get high. So what are you talking about? What difference does that make? And as I've said, if it enhances and focuses my prayer time and my time in the Word or reading about God and thinking about God and thinking about life, why wouldn't I do it? And I enjoy it. It hits all the boxes. So why wouldn't I do it? And so I don't buy any arguments that say I can't do this. Show me from the Bible where this is wrong. Show it to me. And I know people, and there's people I love, that they would disagree with me, but that I don't see it. I don't see it in the Bible, and I don't feel it in my spirit. And I know people a lot less spiritual than me that they would harp on this, but they don't have a prayer life or a spiritual life that I do. And I'm not claiming to be a better person. I'm very aware of my shortcomings. But I'm trying to pursue the Lord and His face above all things and live righteously before Him. My body is a temple. I want to act like it. I want to treat it. And I want it to be filled with prayer and incense and filled with light. I want to take the bread of His body into me. I want to drink his blood in the wine. And it's wine. It is not grape juice. Grape juice did not exist. Grape juice is an unnatural product. You have to add chemicals. You have to add nasty ingredients to make grape juice. I do not believe in drinking grape juice. There might be some out there, but most of them have preservatives that are not good for you. Because you crush a grape and instantly the fermentation process begins. God made it that way. He made it to where you crush it and the process of it becoming wine is so. And it's always had this symbolism of blood. And we find the ultimate meaning in Christ in the Eucharist, but throughout the Old Testament. It's that symbolism of the blood, of incense, his presence as a burning flame, and smoke. If a pillar of smoke went before Israel, why is it a sin for me to smoke? And it literally, to me, focuses my very breath on transcending with Christ, with the Holy Spirit. And so not everyone who smokes thinks that way. They smoke for all kinds of reasons. They enjoy it. They just want to be Gandalf. I don't know. They're stressed out and it helps them be not stressed. That's probably why guys that smoke pipes live longer, have a little bit longer life expectancy than those that don't smoke, because they're calmer. Because they're spending time, alone time, thinking and relaxing and letting stress off the body. Whether you smoke or not, you need to do that. Life's hard enough. Don't make yourself stressed out. Relax. Find ways to relax. Not always. You got to get things done. But it's good to have time to think and to read and to study the Word, meditate on the Word, and pray. So if smoking helps you do that, do it. You know, and if we run into each other, let's smoke together. It helps us to have good, calm, righteous conversation, right? If the ritual with the Inklings type groups where they were thinking together and building one another up, they weren't getting high, they weren't, getting drunk. Why not do it? So there you go, that's my thoughts on it. I don't really care if you smoke or not. I care that you pray more and that you seek the face of God. That you take hold of the access you have in Christ and you spend time in prayer, in the Word. And so whatever you find that helps facilitate that, right? The biggest thing is setting apart time to be with the Lord. And that's why I smoke on these videos, because I sit down, I set a time apart to think and to express my thoughts that I think might help other people. And so smoking does that. And I don't even, as far as alcohol, I don't even like drinking a ton of alcohol. It's fine every once in a while. But I don't like being drunk. I don't like being high. And I've never smoked stuff that made me high. I have no desire to do that. That does not sound fun to me. But I do enjoy sitting and thinking and praying. So I will continue to do that. And I think that is a net benefit for anybody to take time to sit and think on and meditate on and pray before the Lord. And so do what helps you to do that. Find the place to do that. Find ways to do that. And if you do that, you will have a better life. If that includes smoking a pipe or a cigar, good. If for me, I like to smoke cigars when I'm with other guys smoking cigars and we're talking, or smoking pipes with guys and we're talking about. We're not talking about whatever. We're talking about. We're releasing words and encouragement that lift one another up. So I want to spend time with other people, especially with men. We need to build each other up. And I want to spend time alone with the Lord. And so when I'm in that place, I'm intentionally living in my temple and being like a priest in my own temple. And I'm lighting an altar of incense before the Lord. So good luck convincing me otherwise. Because I found this is a way I think I can do this for a long, long, long time. And so, yeah, that's all I got to say on the matter. So hopefully that helps somebody. If it makes you mad, I'm not really worried about it. Your problem's not with me. Alright. Well, God bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you. May He give you His rest. Have a good day.